This is your sixth and final review video for the review for your test. Okay, so the last thing we want to talk about are the types of reactions. Okay, now when we're looking at these types of reactions, we are already assuming that they are chemical. Okay, if you do not have a chemical reaction, or if you have something that's physical, then no reaction is taking place. The word reaction has to refer to a chemical change. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, review back to video 5. Okay, but there are 5 types of chemical reactions, and they all have nicknames and they all have general formats. So the first type is synthesis. Now, a synthesis reaction, I give the nickname marriage. But it's important to remember that while the nicknames are helpful to help you remember like what you should be looking for and what is happening, they're not going to be on your test. Only the vocabulary words. So the word synthesis refers to when I have an element A plus element B, and they produce a single compound. So I have 2 elements on the left side, and I have 1 compound on the right. They've combined. So you can see why I gave this the nickname marriage. My A and B come together to live happily ever after as a couple, AB. An example of this in real life is magnesium as a solid. When it's combined with oxygen gas, produces a ton of light that hurts your eyes. We saw that in class. And it also produces magnesium oxide as a solid. And so this, when it's balanced, looks like that. So that's an example. We see magnesium and oxygen combined together to make magnesium oxide. The next type of reaction is the opposite. It's called decomposition. And in decomposition, the example nickname is the opposite of marriage. It's divorce. So if you have a divorce happen, then we know you have this compound AB, and it splits up into its individual elements. So an example of this, we could simply write the reverse of our synthesis reaction, but to give us an extra one, we could look at the breakdown of water, and water can be broken down into hydrogen gas plus oxygen gas. So I'll make sure I put my states of matter here, and that it's balanced. So let's see, 2 and a 2. There we go. So that's our example. Synthesis and decomposition are the opposite of each other. Now the third one is called a single replacement. Now remember, replacement means something is being, well, replaced. It's being traded out for. There's something now in its spot. And single replacement means that only one thing is being replaced. And so we have given this the nickname the home wrecker. Now you'll see why when we show the general format. The general format of this reaction is when you have a single element, aka the home wrecker, who is around a happy couple. In this case, elements B and C combined. Now, after the reaction has occurred, the home wrecker has gone off with the partner. B has been replaced. So an example of this is when aluminum is around, so aluminum as a solid is put and mixed with copper sulfate. So when copper sulfate, which is an aqueous solution, is mixed with aluminum, what you will find is that you will have the aluminum and the copper swap places. So now we have a copper solid plus aluminum sulfate. And actually, this is written a little, sorry. There we go. There's a 2 there. The sulfate. There's 3. There you go. You'll understand why all those letters are there later in the year when we learn to write. But we can see that the aluminum swaps places with the copper in order to make copper plus aluminum sulfate. Now, the fourth type of reaction is called a double replacement. Now, with a double replacement, this means 2 different things are being replaced, and they're actually replacing each other. So I like to think of it as a wife swap, something similar to that crazy MTV show. And so if you have a compound, AB, and you add it to another compound, which is CD, then 2 things are going to swap places with each other. So A and C are going to swap places. So now C is partnered with B, and A is partnered with D. And so we can see that these things have swapped places. An example of this, off of the top of my head, is that potassium iodide reaction. So if we have potassium iodide, which was aqueous, plus, oh, and this reaction up here was not balanced, sorry about that, plus the lead nitrate, it produces lead iodide, which is a solid, plus potassium nitrate, which is aqueous still. Oh, and this is an aqueous solution as well, so when we balance, this should be a 2, and so should this. Okay, and so we have the potassium and the lead swap places. Now, the last reaction is, in my opinion, one of the easiest to spot, but it often trips us up. This is combustion. Now, the nickname for combustion is baby mama drama. Now, before you get any crazy ideas, the reason why we call it baby mama drama is a student made this up for me last year, and this nickname is always designed to blow up in your face. Okay, a combustion reaction is always going to produce fire. They're the ones that go boom. And a baby mama drama, if you ever find yourself saying the phrase baby mama drama in real life with no jokes attached to it, you have drama and something's about to go boom in your face. It's just going to happen. And so, the thing about combustion reactions is it is always something that is carbon and hydrogen. Okay, so I'm going to put X and Y here to represent just numbers. It could be C2H6, C1H4, it could be anything, plus oxygen gas, producing, and this is key, it will always produce the same products, carbon dioxide plus water, every single time. So an example of this could be CH4, which is methane gas, plus oxygen, producing CO2 and water. The key things to look for here is that it is always carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and you always have CO2 plus water on one side of the equation. Even if it was written like this, CO2 plus H2O producing C2H6 plus O2. This is still a combustion reaction. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide and water are on one side. Okay, so this is your 5 types of reactions. You have tons of practice problems in your packet, and if you want more practice problems, I recommend going to www.braingenie.ck12 for some further practice. And if that link doesn't work, let me know, because this has been a while since I've visited the site, but they have some excellent practice. So good luck.